Hello, my name is Chiti Kalasa. I'm a licensed psychosocial counselor and I make videos on mental health, psychology, and personal development. So today's video is quite exciting and challenging for me because, in as much as most researchers say that this attachment style is the least researched about, ironically, I found a vast array of material when coming up with a script for this video. But I made sure to only include what's necessary. uh, but if you want to read more, I think there is a lot out there. There are tons and tons of information, research from different counselors, therapists, and psychiatrists. You can look it up. Uh, Before we go into this video, make sure to like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel, share my videos. I will really appreciate that. Yes, so today's video, we're going to take a look at the disorganized attachment style, also known as the fearful avoidant attachment style in children. So, what is a disorganized attachment style? So, this is an insecure attachment style that typically develops in childhood. However, I think it's important to also acknowledge that sometimes most of us may have had a happy and fair childhood. We developed a secure attachment style, so we were secure at one point. However, sometimes in life, things do not always go as planned, especially if you reach a stage of psychosocial development known as the intimacy versus isolation stage, where one is looking for a life partner. They are looking for, where will they be loved, or will they love someone, or maybe will they be isolated. Sometimes in this stage of life, things do not go as planned. We may turn from the most happiest and secure, confident, anchored person, and our experiences may just turn us to the deepest and darkest places. We may become fearful and insecure, or even develop a low sense of self worth. My heart goes out to anyone that has experienced rejection and abandonment. My heart goes out to all those people. Things may not go as planned, as I said, and sometimes we may be from secure to insecure. It's not always in childhood. Yes. Um, so this attachment style develops in children that experience a lot of chaos in the environment. So this is not light chaos. So these children experience or witnessed things that are traumatic. Perhaps they grew up in extreme poverty. Children that also experience a violent attacks in their environment, like war, terrorism, they have witnessed such things, are most likely to develop this attachment style. And also, seeing a parent go through psychological difficulties. Perhaps you had a parent that was dealing with a mental health disorder. Perhaps they were bipolar or borderline, or basically witnessing terrifying events. So, in especially in relation to the caregiver. So, in this attachment style, subconsciously, children know that when they need soothing, nurturing love, they instinctively run to their caregiver. So here, the source of safety, which is the attachment figure, becomes a source of fear. Okay, so this attachment. It's also important to know that this attachment style incorporates both insecure attachment styles. So it's a mixture of two insecure attachment styles. It's That's the anxious and the avoidant attachment styles. So the model that the child receives in this attachment style is that, or develops, is that they develop a negative model of self and the negative model of others. In an avoidant attached kid, they become self-assured. They develop a positive model of self, but they doubt if others will meet their needs. So they have a negative model of others. In an anxious attachment style, the child has a negative model of self and a positive model of others. But in this attachment style, the attachments, then the model of self is negative, and also the model of others is also negative. So this attachment style, because it incorporates both insecure attachment styles, which is the anxious and avoidant. Because of this, research says that it's the most difficult attachment style to work through, even in therapy. Yes. So how does the disorganized attachment develop? So, like, an infant depends on their caregiver for love, nurturing, and support, and subconsciously they know this, instinctively they know this, and when they're in distress, they they know who to run to, okay, or who will soothe them. However, when the source of safety, the very person that soothes you, that's supposed to care for you, um, becomes a source of fear, the child won't know what to expect from their caregiver, and this child begins to fear their caregiver, and show highly contrasting behaviors towards their caregiver. For example, these children crave closeness, okay, but if their caregiver came closer, they would freeze or show signs of dissociation, like they do not know what to do, or they may just become rejecting of the caregiver and just not go closer to the caregiver. So they do want emotional closeness. There is a need for emotional closeness and bonding, but however, because the source of comfort has become a source of fear, they are they don't know what to expect. So they dissociate, they freeze, or they just reject the caregiver altogether. So the children children that have witnessed traumatizing experiences involving an attachment figure are most likely to develop this attachment style. For example, let's say you witnessed your caregiver um, perhaps assaulting someone, they become violently aggressive, or maybe even witnessed your caregiver sexually abusing someone else. So those are terrifying things to witness as a child. So you begin to fear your caregiver. And also, interestingly, I read an article that children that were parentified, or that are parentified, are most likely to develop this attachment style. So in parentification, there is role reversal. Instead of your parent consoling you, giving you advice, it's the other way around. And mostly this may be due to the fact that maybe your parents are is struggles mentally, or they have addiction issues, they're addicted to alcohol or drugs. So yeah, you become the parentified child, you're the one offering support and advice to your parents. So these children experienced some form of trauma in that way, or have experienced some form of trauma in that way. So all these things Mostly what you notice disorganized attachment style is that it's as a result of unresolved trauma. And by the way, most kids with this attachment style also experienced abuse from their caregiver at some point, or the attachment figure. This abuse could be verbal, mental, emotional, and or even sexual abuse. So uh, all these things, in this attachment, what you notice is that in this attachment style, there is a state of unresolved trauma. Perhaps mostly these traumatic events happen outside the brain's tolerance window, meaning it happens in a state when the developing brain cannot process what happens. So what happens is that there is repression of memories, trying to repress the pain, push it in more like in the back box, so that it's stored in the subconscious mind. And the children with this attachment style lack coherence in their behavior towards their caregiver. They may seek closeness, but at the same time reject their caregiver's proximity and just distance themselves from the caregiver. So, all in all, in a nutshell, this we can say that the fearful avoidant attachment style is a lack of integration of trauma. Okay, this trauma wasn't processed. In in three-quarters of the time, the people with a disorganized attachment, child, be it children or adults, are have unresolved trauma, repressed memories of pain, turmoil, chaos, all those things. So what are the signs of fearful avoidant attachment style in children? So these children are show hot and cold patterns. Remember, they want closeness, uh, they want love, they want care, but they have learned to fear those things because their source of comfort became a source of fear. So they may even show unpredictable behaviors. Um, they may, for example, they may scream for their caregiver. They move away when the caregiver responds to them because they are scared of their caregiver. They display, mostly they live in a state of fear. They display a lot of fear. Even their facial expressions display fear in them. They appear to be in a trance or in a state of freeze because they don't know what to expect. Or they may become disoriented. So the with these children there is a lack of strategy or coherence. They do not know what to do.